Brad, thanks for sitting down and taking a moment to discuss this issue. I wish we didn't have to be here, but we do. I know you're busy and going out trying to provide people with a great product. Currently in the county of San Joaquin, there is an effort underway to impose a project labor agreement on all or most upcoming projects with the county. Give us a little bit of background of your company, your experience with the county, and then thirdly, how a PLA would impact that relationship you have with the county.
Yeah, so Diede Construction, we're a family-owned and operated company. We've been here since 1978 in San Joaquin County. Not only is it a family company, but a lot of our employees have been with us 30, 40 years, so they're part of our family too. We employ about 80 employees out of this Diede Construction Lodi office. We've worked with San Joaquin County on numerous projects over the years and want to continue to have that opportunity to work with them. The PLA would essentially exclude a lot of our employees, or it was something that we're not willing to bid on projects for the county, because even if we sign those agreements, the benefits and the pensions that we would pay in under those projects would never go back to our employees. They go to
benefit packages
that our employees would never vest in and get to reap those benefits.
So if your employee even did work on them, they'd essentially lose money on the job.
Correct, which is why we choose not to bid them, because it's not really fair to our employees. That's the reason we don't bid on those types of projects, and it just becomes a little bit more, it excludes more people, because we're not the only ones that feel this way. Some of our subcontractors as well. And when you're limiting the number of subs that are bidding on projects, you're not really being fiscally responsible. Price goes up because there's less competition and less opportunities for people in the local county to bid on them.
Great. One of the big arguments I hear from PLA proponents is this is necessary for local hire. I keep hearing this over and over again. I find that ironic in the sense that I didn't know there was a local hire problem. They don't define the problem. And when they do surveys of what their local hire numbers, they're always in an area like this. It's always like in the 70 to 90% range, because it just makes sense. It's going to be people within this geographic area that does a lot of the work. PLAs then come in and say, oh, it's a local hire issue. And then, I don't know if you saw it, but in the PLA that the chairman put forth on Friday, it was a 50% goal. I guarantee you already they're exceeding that. So they're actually lowering the local hire goal because they know they can't meet it. They're gonna have to be bringing people in from the Bay Area, from Los Angeles, from wherever, to get that local hire. Describe your workforce and your subcontractors' workforce. Are these people that are mostly local already who are now going to be excluded because of the PLA, thereby making local hire harder to attain?
Yes, I mean, we've been based out of Lodi, like I said, for a long time. And so majority of our employees are within a driving distance to the office. If they're not in San Joaquin County specific, they're Sacramento or Stanislaus. So they're quick drive to the office. So yeah, most of our employees, I would say at least 60% are out of San Joaquin County, and then the rest probably come in from the surrounding counties. And same thing with our subs. We kind of focus, we've built a database over the years of working with different subcontractors throughout the valley. And yes, a majority of our subs, we like to keep them local. So if we're bidding on a project in San Joaquin County, the majority of our subs that are gonna have the best advantage are the ones that aren't having to drive as far. So they're from San Joaquin County as well.
So again, it sounds like a PLA is a solution in search of a problem. I mean, you're currently providing local workers, making great money, and obviously doing quality work. You're still in business 50 years later.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the San Joaquin County has been bidding projects for the past 50 years under that method where it's prevailing wage, we're all playing by the same rules. Adding this PLA in basically is adding a layer of exclusion where all of a sudden now certain people aren't going to be able to bid, or if they do choose to bid, they'll either have to up the wages for their workers to counterbalance the fringes that they'd be missing out, or it would be taking away from their employees' pockets, which no one wants to take away from their employees' pockets.
And in turn, you're having to charge the agency, in this case, the county, more money because you're having to basically pay double benefits, if you will, because you know the money they're giving to the unions is never going to be gotten back to them.
Yes, if you're choosing to go in that path and you want to make your employees whole, that is definitely what you have to do, is you have to pay that extra fringe, basically paying double fringe to get those employees whole, which, you know, it doesn't make you very competitive when you do that. And not only that, but then you get less subcontractors bidding the project because they're choosing not to go that route either. With less competition, people know it, and their price tends to go up. So
pencils aren't sharpened as much as they might have been, right? We often hear that they're also necessary to guarantee a skilled and trained workforce. Obviously, you're not going to be in existence for over 50 years if you are not employing skilled and trained construction personnel. Explain the training, the organization you belong to for apprenticeship, et cetera.
We are a member of ABC, and that is where we train our labor and carpentry apprentices through. We've done that for the past 20 plus years, I would say, if not longer, as far as training apprentices. But they take classes, have to do testing, and then they are shadowing under journeyman employees to kind of get that in-field experience and really evolve their craft. And then eventually, once they've done enough and banked enough hours, they've graduated on and become full-time employees and become the journeyman and essentially start training the new apprentices.
So these are state-approved apprenticeship programs. The union PLAs only allow for joint labor management programs, which exclude yours. So not only are, if you choose to sign a PLA, your workers losing money each hour of every job going into union pension plans will ever invest in, but your union-free, state-approved apprenticeship programs, which these young men and women who want a future in the trades are members of, they're not even allowed at all under a PLA. Even if you chose to sign on to a PLA, you couldn't even use them.
Correct.
Absolutely incredible. And again, the unions argue you're not as well-trained, which is nonsense, as the union side, but then the unions make it harder for you to get that training by excluding your programs, which I just find striking, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And I read the PLA that Dolly Watt put up on Friday, and it did explicitly exclude. It had that joint labor management, and people look at that and go, "Oh, apprenticeship programs." And it's like, no, that's a very specific kind. That's the union one. Then there's the unilateral programs that are on the non-union side, which were created about 30 years ago when the unions, after suing you for 10 years, like a decade, the unions. It's interesting because, and the public doesn't know this, but the unions do a great job of training their future workforce. But when the merit shop tried to do that in the early 90s, the union sued them and took them to court. And for 10 years fought them in court to not be able to train their future employees. And then they finally lost in court. And so since about late 90s, the ABCs of the world and the WICAs of the world have been able to have their own apprenticeship programs. But then the unions complain that they haven't been in effect as long as theirs. And I'm like, well, you sued them for 10 years. Number one. Number two, that doesn't mean that you're still not getting a quality apprenticeship program just because it hasn't been around as long.
Correct.
So I just find the argument fascinating in that sense. Do you have anything that you would like to say specifically to the supervisors as they at some point bring this back? You know, what is something you would like to tell the supervisors as a local contractor employing local workers who produces a quality product for the county?
Yes, we are local, and we just want the opportunity. We've been in this county for a long time. We plan to stay in this county for a long time, and we employ a decent amount of people, and we want to be able to provide them jobs here locally. And all we're looking for is the opportunity to be able to keep them working. You know, we want to be able to bid on projects here in San Joaquin County. We're not asking for a handout. We're just wanting to have the opportunity to do that.
You want to provide them with a good product.
Yes.
You want to build a great project for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to drive around the county and see different projects that we've done over the years. You know, my parents started this company, and so driving around and seeing a fire station that was built, 20 years ago when I was a kid versus now, it's fun to see that stuff, and just want to continue that for future generations.
Just give you a chance to do what you've been doing for almost over 50 years.
Exactly. Yep.
Provide a good product. Unions get up there oftentimes and speak, and I find this interesting because the unions right now can bid projects, you can bid projects. Sometimes they win, sometimes you win. That's the open market. With a PLA, they're still able to bid and work.
Right.
You aren't.
Correct.
So that's an uneven playing field. Our effort isn't an anti-union or anti-anyone field. It's a pro-everybody, pro-open competition argument. And I think that's important because I hold two union I belong to two unions. My dad retired from the union. I have union contractors that sit on my board of directors. I'm not anti-union. I'm anti-discrimination and pro-open market. I mean, that's what it is.
I completely agree. We bid projects on a daily basis, and we're taking numbers from both union and non-union contractors. It's really who's going to give us the best quality and price, and it's really being fiscally responsible to those public agencies of giving them the best price so you can win the work. It doesn't matter if you're union or non-union, as long as you make sure you're paying prevailing wages. It's an equal playing field for everyone.
So in the simplest terms, the reasons you won't sign on to a PLA, what are they?
So a project labor agreement, or PLA, is essentially a contract that forces all the employees to be run through the local unions. The reason we won't sign on for that is that when our employees sign in through those unions, their medical, 401k, retirement, that all goes into the union plan. They don't vest in it because we're only doing a project for a year. So they don't vest in that project. So at the end of the project, all that money that they've built up into those coffers stay there. So that's why it's not really fair to our employees and their families to not have those benefits that they should be entitled to. So that's why we won't sign up for PLA projects.
It's causing that worker's paycheck to be smaller than it otherwise would have been.
Exactly.
And now let's jump into what he was describing as translate that to the family situation. By doing that, we're taking money and food off the tables of our workers. Benefit package has got to be what, $20+ on a prevailing wage job?
20,
it's a
30,
significant amount of money.
Definitely.
So extrapolate out that over the course of a project, and you're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars that's just gone that otherwise would have been there for that family, for their needs in an era of $7 a gallon diesel gasoline. How that impacts. Let's talk about the family impact. Because one thing we want to do with this is tug at the emotive heartstrings of the population who isn't really sure what a PLA is, but they're hearing discrimination, money being stolen, and oh my gosh, we're taking food off the tables of families. That's bad. I'm going to call my supervisor. So kind of wrap that family impact on it based on what you just said about them getting less in their paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, they've worked on the project, they've got paid the prevailing wage, but then the funds, they don't get to keep those funds at the end of the project that, really go towards supplying for their entire family.
Which could be $20 to $30 an hour.
Yes, exactly.
You probably have people that work for your parents and their kids work for you. Maybe some of them.
Yeah, we do. We actually had our oldest employee just retired this past year, but his son actually was an apprentice, graduated through the apprenticeship program, worked as a journeyman for us for many years, and now has graduated to a superintendent. So he's kind of followed in his dad's footsteps. But yes, it is one of those things that a lot of our employees are long-term families, so it was great to have a little retirement party for him and his family, get to see his son and grandkids all come and see exactly what he's done over the past 40 years working for us. So
that's great. Yeah. Multi-generational, obviously not a fly-by-night operation. You're not pulling up to Home Depot, loading up a bunch of people in the back of your truck, bringing them to a job site and then dropping them off at the end of the day.
No.
This is honestly, I'm accused of that all the time when I go and speak. You should see this. You've seen a little bit of it, but you'd be amazed at the accusations that are made. You don't pay your people, so why are they working for you? You pick them up in front of Home Depot, they're not qualified. I hear it all. So you are employing, in some cases, multi-generational employees who produce a great product, make a good living, and a PLA really punishes them.
Yeah, it just doesn't even give us the opportunity to bid on work and fairly go after that work. So, projects that they're paying their tax dollars in for, they don't even have the opportunity to work on those projects in the communities that they live in.
That's a great point. They're local.
Right.
They're paying the taxes into the county for a new aquatic center or whatever, and then they're not allowed to work on it.
Or even having the opportunity to try.
Opportunity,
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Because we work with both union and non-union subs, and we want everyone to have that opportunity. It's great to keep the jobs local, and it shouldn't be just one sector of the local market. It should be everyone in the market.
One thing I've noticed is at these meetings, I think maybe twice in 28 years that I've been doing this, I've seen an actual union contractor show up and speak in favor of PLA. They never show up and speak in favor of these things. That's telling, because behind the scenes, they don't want these either, because they know they're going to lose a lot of their subs, and it just interferes in the marketplace. So speak to that. You're a merit shop contractor who employs union subs as well as non-union subs. One thing I never see at these meetings are union contractors just vocally supporting PLAs. I think that's a huge tell.
Yeah, and I think the reason is they have nothing to lose. They are going to get to bid on the project no matter what. They're already bidding on the projects, and then if it gets put in place, they'll still get to bid on it. It's the other people, it's the non-union or open shop contractors that are ones that are typically there speaking out against it because they still want to keep bidding on projects in their local area to keep their workers and families busy.
You're going to basically be out in front of a lot of the local voters and taxpayers and citizens of San Joaquin County. What is a message you have for them that you would like them to convey to the county board of supervisors?
I'd like everyone to reach out to their local board of supervisor and just let them know that they're not in favor of a PLA. It's exclusionary, it doesn't give opportunities to everyone, and we really just want to have the opportunity to continue to do work for San Joaquin County, and that's all we're asking for.